everyone. This is a kind of a lecture video, you can say, where I will answer the questions related to this land-based fish farming. As you know, that we have actually a lot of content on Aquaculture Tribe related to the land-based fish farming and the challenges and the feed related to that, and everything you need to consider. But recently, I have noticed that there are a lot of requests. And there are a lot of questions also in the comments and also in the email related to the RAS farming, land-based fish farming. So I thought maybe it's a good idea to have a kind of a small refresher course or a refresher video to walk you guys through from these things which are related to RAS. So let's start this lecture or video, we can say. So, as you know, my name is Sunny. I'm doing this aquaculture tribe for you guys so that we can make the sustainable protein more available to everybody. And we have a lot to do in this domain. So, to not delay further, let's go. So why we need land-based fish farming? That's also a big question. We need land-based fish farming, or we need all sorts of farming for producing more protein, especially when it comes to the animal protein, because this is one of the most important protein source for the growing population, and we have to have it. And the human population is increasing. It's almost like a cliche to say that, oh, the world population will become 10 billion by this much time and this and that. But the reality is this, that even today we have protein deficiency in the world, in many regions, many parts of the world. So what are the options? We have of course, different options to produce protein. We have fish, we have chicken, we have pork, we have beef, we have so many different options. But we are now thinking about what is the best suitable options for many people to get into. And that suitable option for many people to get into is still remains fish farming. And fish farming is actually, you have more than 500 species to choose from, which are domesticated by humans for almost, I mean, the earliest species we know that was domesticated was back in 2000 years ago, even. So, and it could be even before that. So we have a lot of options to choose from when it comes to the fish farming. And as you know, we have these challenges with not everybody can have the farm in the sea, and not everybody can have farm in the like a pond. So there are also issues with the fresh water. Fresh water is a resource which is reducing. We have seawater available in abundance, but it's not it is not satisfactory to kind of raise fish because of the contaminants and runoff chemicals from industrial agriculture, for example. That's one of the reasons. So in this scenario, then we are only left with a few options. And one of those options could be aquaponics, hydroponics, and also land-based fish farming for producing protein. And but the challenge with the land-based fish farming, we will discuss more in the next slide. So this is the thing. So when it comes to land-based fish farming, we have a big challenge, and that big challenge is that should we start a small one or a big one? This is a huge challenge. So as you know, that probably, at least this is the number from 2022, that we had almost 100 different projects around the world related to the land-based fish farming, which are the bigger projects. And then we have hundreds and thousands of other projects, which are small scale projects, which are people who are interested and enthusiastic about the farming, want to produce their own food locally. They are doing different methods with the varied way of doing it. Like somebody is doing mix of land-based fish farming with aquaponics, somebody is doing only aquaponics, somebody is trying to do this biofloc. So there are a lot of different varieties. But at the end of the day, we can say many of these varieties fall into the category of land-based fish farming. And when it comes to the technology, when the technology jumps in, we call it RAS, fish farming, because RAS is like recirculating aquaculture system. It means simply is that you are using the water, but you are actually recirculating the water. You're actually making it more efficient in terms of usage. Uh, but we do have different also varieties within the RAS system. But I think that is not really in the scope of today's lecture. So let's see what are the common challenges, for example, or what are the different species in this area. So many people like who are interested in land-based fish farming, especially in US, I was there recently. They're like doing salmon farming, and they are really also looking into trout farming. Salmon farming and trout farming are actually high budget projects. They are not really a small scale projects. Even to get the eggs of this salmon, you probably need to buy it from Norway or Iceland. So you have like a lot of these challenges. First, you have to have them transported in a very secure way to your country, wherever you are actually doing it. Then and there are a lot of issues with the biology. People have lack of understanding. If you are doing the farm, for example, in Dubai or in India or in Africa, so it's a lot of challenges, and the water temperature challenges. It needs cold water that you may not have access to. So there are a lot of things related to that. And then you have trout. Trout is fairly more easy compared with salmon, because trout can manage, especially the rainbow trout, can manage a little bit higher temperature than salmon. So you have also less challenge with the water, because trout can be managed in less salty water, or more, you can say, in a fresh water. So, sorry. And then you have tilapia and shrimp. So tilapia and shrimp are also very good candidates for that, and carp along with carps. Tilapia is a very good candidate because tilapia can handle the warm temperature. Tilapia have like even can handle 25 degrees. So this is a good species to experiment at the smaller scale in a way. And then you have shrimp, and shrimp is also very, I wouldn't say easy species to farm, but at least it's less risk compared to salmon and trout. So this is the thing. So if you are at the smaller scale, and if you are trying out in the start small, go with tilapia without thinking too much, because it is that easy. That you will learn a lot. You do your trials 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whenever you feel comfortable, the to have the complete grasp of knowledge, and do trial and error. And I mean, there are so many things you need to learn about before you jump into trout or salmon or even shrimp per se. So you have to, in my understanding, tilapia is the thing to go. So if you are starting out, just go with that. So this is, but if you are already kind of have a lot of understanding of different aspects of fish farming, you have experience with trout farming, then salmon may be easy for you. If you haven't have any kind of experience with the trout farming, then jumping into the salmon farming is not really recommended. So jumping on to the challenges. This is like I can talk about this for 10 hours, but let's make it simple. So the technology today, it really depends how much investment you have at the end of the day. So you have drum filters, you have mechanical filters, you have water cleaning systems, you have UV systems, you have biofilters, you have fancy fish tanks, you have kind of like fully automated feeders. You have so many things when it comes to the technology part to make it more successful. But it really depends where what is your situation of your project economically. Where are you standing right now? So when I was kind of working for one project, and I remember that we didn't had everything. We really had like we didn't had, for example, the huge expensive technology which cost millions of dollars. So we were doing everything under $1 million for that understanding. So we like you have to have, you have varied varieties of all these technological products. You have cheap fish feeders, you have cheap fish tanks, you have very expensive ones, you have a cheap setup for biofilter, you don't have you have a lot to choose from, and mechanical filter, and all sort of these technology elements, they are available in varied degrees depending on what is your budget. uh, and then you have the biology challenge. The biology challenge is so interesting and it's so huge. You change the species, the biology challenge changes itself in shape and its uh, tenacity. So you have, for example, if you're doing salmon, the biological challenges are so different. You're doing trout, the biological challenges different. You're doing shrimp, they are different. You're doing tilapia, they are different. So you really need to have the hold of the biology to make it successful. You can have all sort of expensive technology in the world, but if you don't really have the proper understanding of the biology of the fish you are working with, you are really going to just lose it all. And sometimes you can lose it all like bigly. So that is like one of the things you need to understand. So you, whichever species you're doing, you have to understand it, like what is the like the average kind of temperature you have to have it. What is the optimum water quality for that? What is the feeding strategy you have to adopt? Because feeding is also a very important part. So many people I know these days, they just kill their fish by putting a lot of feed in the fish tank or in their system. And what it does, that it actually create a very toxic environment for the fish. So some fish species can handle it very well. They have more endurance for the toxic elements, uh, but most of the fish cannot handle it that well, because you have also a lot of stocking density. You have a lot of fish in those tanks or small concrete ponds. You're trying to do this indoors. So it is a huge thing. You have to understand that biology have limitations, and you have to have a very to keep. And also it's very important, if you want to keep the water quality good, you have to feed always less. You don't have to kind of think about this, like you could be doing maybe many things right, but if you are not feeding right, you could get this wrong message to yourself that your everything is not working because of the fish is dying. Your fish may very well be dying just because of the simple reason that you are feeding fish too much. So you have to cut down on the feed. That's most important mistake people are doing. They're destroying their water quality. They're destroying their filters. They are making mess with biofilters. So they're blocking their the pipes. So it's a huge challenge, and this is a human challenge. So let's move to the investment part. So I have probably by now, uh, I don't remember the number, but since the start of this YouTube channel, in a way, since we have this RAS farming videos coming, I have people, especially from India, who are really interested, and also from Central Asia, really interested doing this RAS farming. They're just trying to kind of think like, okay, so it's a big thing in Norway. Norwegian companies are doing it all over the world. Maybe we should do the same. It's like they think it's very simple. But the thing is, this is huge projects. They are investment intensive projects. And to secure the financing, you really have to have a proper financial system, the banking system, the investment system, which support these projects. So this is not really something you can pull it off and you are sure it will be successful. I mean, many of these people who have been doing this farming, they have lost huge sums of money. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars by now. So in this regard, if you are taking all the risk by yourself, for example, in Southeast Asia or in Dubai or in the Middle East or Central Asia or even in Africa, I would say you have to understand how much loss you can have. You cannot think like, okay, I will farm the fish, I will buy the tanks, I'll do all this technology and stuff, and then boom, after 6 months, like a chicken farm, you will have a lot of money. That is not going to happen, by the way. You're going to have a lot of frustration because everything is not really sorted out in this space. So what I would say, if you are doing it in India or Dubai or Africa, and Dubai is maybe they have better financial system, by the way. So, but if you are trying to do and you're on your by yourself and you have limited resources, let's say that way, you have to consider how much loss you can have. You have to try the combination of RAS farming together with aquaponics and with very low density of fish. That so you have to really think in a very different way compared to somebody is doing it in Norway or somebody is doing it in US. So this is what I have to say. But there are a lot of other aspects. But related to investment, if you need more guidance and more understanding in this, I previously produced some videos related to the getting investment in this thing. I've been helping people about this thing, so I can always help more people. Sustainability. No, it's a huge debate. Is it really appropriate for the sustainability to produce the fish on the land, as we have the freshwater issues, as we have the use of fresh water is so kind of important that we have to use it in a very smart way. It really depends. So for some people, let's say if you have the seawater and you're combining it with your RAS system and you have a farm by the water or by a lake, you might have a very good setup which is naturally there to start this thing, and that might have a very good sustainability profile. But in some cases, if you are really just you have the data that already there is a drought in the region and there is less water underground, and you're pulling the water from underground all the way, and then you're trying to use this fresh water, which is a resource, a very important natural resource. In this point, maybe you are not really sustainable. Simple as that. And there are so many issues. And now you also have, for example, the feed related issue. I think it's on the next slide. Yeah, so I will also discuss about feed in it, because feed and sustainability, they go really hand in hand. So for investment, I know there are a lot of tools these days: green investing, ESG investing, sustainable finance. They are different instruments that can help you to finance these projects. But to get there, you really need that everything. You have to have a track record. You have to have everything worked out right. You can also ask me if you need any help in that. But this is a complicated challenge, the investment challenge. But I think we have already discussed and covered a lot of thoughts and points in this thing. But let's move to the final slide. And if you have some questions, you can send me the email, of course, afterwards. So what are the final thoughts here? The final thoughts are like, what I see that people unfortunately don't have proper knowledge, and it's so important to have knowledge. Without knowledge, you cannot really go any further in this area. There is always something new to learn, to understand. This is biology you are dealing with. You cannot have it all. So you really have to have important kind of put a lot of importance on knowledge. And no, it's never enough. You have to keep understanding it, and you have to also learn by doing hands-on things. But hands-on things also have a pitfall. The hands-on things, if you keep doing it, you think, oh, I'm doing everything right because I'm doing everything by myself. It doesn't mean that you're doing everything right. So you have to keep the open mind and keep on learning about this thing. And the other thing related to these land-based projects are the fish feed. Fish feed is 60%, 70% of the cost, huge contributor when it comes to the overall sustainability in this carbon footprint, for example. So fish feed is a hugely important topic. And so in this regard, what I would recommend that when you're starting out small, you don't take the risk by producing your own feed, because what I see that people make mistakes when it comes to the RAS farming. Of course, when you do the pond, you do the other methods, you might just get away with that. Even you make mistakes when you do the fish feed by yourself. You make it, you produce it by yourself. But when it comes to this uh, sophisticated RAS farming, it's very complicated. You probably cannot get it all right all the time. So you really need to start small with small trials, have to learn about it. You cannot go randomly and start producing by yourself. You probably might get more water quality issues because of your feed quality. So I would say when you are in the early stage, go with a commercial supplier who is good at RAS feed. There are not many, unfortunately, but that's how it is. You have to make sure that you have this feel good factor also, because I know some people could be really disappointed when they put all the effort, put a year or two in these projects, and then they end up killing their fish because of the feed. So you have to really have full control of this thing. And of course, the feed, the best is to have with the local ingredients, as I always say, with the byproducts, as I always say. But you have to keep the balance also at the same time. We can't just blindly do it. But if you have more questions related to this, just send me the email. I will help you. And then it's very important to start small, in a small scale. Yes, hugely important. think of yourself as a student in this thing. We are all students, by the way. We're all learning every day. So you have to uh, kind of put your guard down a bit, try to understand uh, fully before you jump in. Some other things are that there are so many other videos available on the channel. Please also watch them. There are people asking sometime the questions which I have already answered in the previous videos. So please go and check different playlists and keep enjoying learning. And if you want more videos on these topics, please send me the message or email, whatever, that then I can produce more lectures like that, because we have to bring aquaculture to next level. So thank you for today, and have a great learning and happy farming. Bye bye.